I guess this is a continuation of the morning cup. I've moved into the shade and in the process of kind of getting settled in. I took a break there for a second and watched a couple of short videos. One short video from Sky Australia, which is hilarious. You got to really watch it to the end. I just put it up on Community Post. At the end, a young, slender man is joining what they call a trans fat club. Those are trans people who are fat. And he says, well, I identify as 275 pounds. Actually, all the women, I've tried to warn you, don't make fun of fat people, because it actually depends on what country you're living in, because of the frankenfood is really causing the obesity, not gluttony. But the guy was hilarious, and he was just pushing their point is they identify as trans, and why can't he identify as fat? He says he identified as a 275 pounder. You see where I'm going with this? And they're flashed up on that Joe Biden, at a time where I'm dying out on the streets, and going without housing. There's a report that he's about to give away oh, motherfucker, if you want to piss me off, you just did it. There's a report saying that President Kitty Sniffer, in order to buy some more fucking votes, has proposed another $750 billion in student loan forgiveness. Excuse me, motherfucker? What about forgiving some farm loans, huh? People actually feed people, even if it is frankenfood. People actually feed people. People actually, what about people like me and other people that worked their way through college? I worked my way through college while I was in college and made the college money on top of it. I made them a profit. Football players bring money to the school. Think about all those ticket sales at every game. The television coverage, we get paid for that. And only recently did they sign some kind of a deal with NCAA athletes where they get to start splitting up $2.8 billion a year. Cash money in their pocket, legal. It's just fucking ain't nothing fair about this fucking country. Now, my parents never said that life was fair. Didn't expect it, but just fucking us after the fact. And then telling students, especially students who go into humanities and gender studies and sociology and all these gimme degrees, in one college is actually allowing the students to create their own degree, like in toenail or fingernail painting, fingernail sculpting, something like that. Completely useless degrees. As a matter of fact, the majority of degrees being handed out by universities right now at the undergrad level are abso-fucking-lutely useless. Really. Useless. Yeah, because that's what you're going for. You want a degree, but it's absolutely useless. Yeah, no thanks, I don't eat Starbucks food. I really don't. I can't afford the diarrhea.
It's just some ice water.
The ice water?
Yeah. And this is
Go ahead and enjoy it. I've got 6 gallons of water right there. Shouldn't. Yeah.
I'll just leave it here for you.
No, please. That means trash that I have to get up off my broken ass and put it, because I've really learned. Because the other day somebody brought me some really expensive stuff from a high quality. It's called a Salty Donut in Austin, and I still reacted. Their oil was absolutely odorless and tasteless. Wasn't but anyway. But if you don't really understand, because see, you're young. These poisons have a cumulative effect. One day you'll get what I'm talking about. But see, I've already been through it a long time ago. and even that's I assume has some sort of wheat in it or some kind of grain in some kind of sandwich or donut or cookie or something. And the oils that they're using are them nasty, toxic. You know, even olive oil is never real.
So you're not
Yeah,
gonna
please
take
don't leave it. Take it
Okay.
because otherwise, then it goes into my trash bag, which is Staz's trash bag, which means I have to carry it to a trash can. I thank you for thinking of me, but I really only eat right now. I only eat foods that have been purified by animals,
purify by animals.
detoxified by animals. You do understand that that almost all plants around us use chemical defenses. You don't actually need antioxidants, sir. I'll keep you off camera. The camera's pointed towards me. You know, the antioxidants in plants are for the plant's benefit, especially the leafier they get, the more toxic they get because they have to withstand all that UV radiation. Your spouse is waiting on you, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
I thank you for your generosity, but like I tell people, I really don't accept any food donation. The last time I accepted and tasted a food donation, once again, it made me violently ill because yeah, if you don't believe me, you might want to check with Harvard, which is the dumbest bunch of motherfuckers on this planet. You know, they finally published a few months ago that the American Frankenfood diet is not only pathogenic, it's carcinogenic.
Okay. I got, but I have limited time right now, so thank
You
you.
have a good day, but yeah, please take it with you. I'm tired of you. Please understand, I've had now about 3,000 pounds of stuff dumped on me ends up I have to carry it to the dumpster. Thank you. And then again, no thank you. He was going to just leave it on the ground where the ants could get to it in a paper bag. You know, I made at least 100 videos talking about how inconsiderate people are. He didn't even ask me first whether or not I want it. What about the water? Got plenty of water. I don't need some open container of ice water sitting there. Now, it's really stupid to drink. It's rapidly because last night it like never got below 81 degrees. The little bird had a chance to actually survive it last night. It might still be alive, but I can't go through walking through that grass and I'm not going to. Today I have to focus on me. It's actually only Thursday, right? Isn't it? So I need to get the glasses ordered because they don't grind their own lenses there. It's not iMark. They're going to have to send them out, and that'll probably take upwards of a week. When even the hardest plastic, CR39, compared to glass, only takes a few minutes to grind the lens. And then I have to check once they assemble them at the Walmart or whatever and dispense them to me. The first thing I have to do is go through checking them. Because the last time I used to go to iMark and Dr. Betty Vo, because she was associated with, because they provided the space for office and stuff like that. She was a nice, very nice, lovely, gorgeous, actually, Vietnamese woman, doctor. And iMark fucked up, I could tell they fucked up the axis on one of the lenses. You know, all I got to do is just check them. If everything is not perfect, and I took them back over. She put them in the lensometer, called back over and told them, do them over. You fucked them up. You didn't follow my prescription. So I handed her prescription, which she's got the copy of. You know, she's, you know, really, a lot of y'all get dispensed glasses and they do really not helping. That's because you're dealing with people, or even though they're making a good technician's pay and shit, you know, a guy that's handling the grinding and shaping of the lenses and shit is usually making around $35 an hour or something like that. Really, almost as much as the optometrist himself. And they fuck up often. If you don't know how to check your own fucking lenses, you're screwed. You get stuck with an overpriced pair of glasses. I'm glad y'all heard that exchange because that's a very nice Oriental man, Mongoloid man, but he wouldn't even tell me what was in the bag. But I had to assume that it's wheat based. No, I learned the hard way that wheat now has got chlor. They went from we no longer use glyphosate. Now we use chlormequat. Mm-mm. And he spent probably $5 on that, whatever the hell that was. It's probably they call it a butter croissant, but it's might be real butter. But the problem is the fucking wheat now. Wheat, oats, all that shit. The only thing that's grain that's maybe acceptable is because I got it into the Texas rice industry. Is they use calcium chloride, absolutely harmless to humans. It's to kill their rice they really have to keep from really fucking up because their rice paddies don't really have any runoff. They have to be flooded several times and stuff. They can't afford to allow. The calcium chloride is really kind of perfect because, plants need calcium. And so I would consider eating about the only grain I could consider eating. That's one of the things I'm thinking about to save money is if I buy a cup, but the problem is those little backpacker stoves, the usual kind of standard size cup and stuff, it doesn't fit on there well. You have to it's meant for a bigger pot or something. That's something I could actually cook up, although it's going to eat up like 50 cents worth of butane to cook it. But I know how to cook rice. Is you only really have to bring it to a boil, a low boil, not a rolling boil like they say. And you don't use a 2-to-1 ratio. You use at least 3 to 4 times as much water. It only has to be boiled for about 8 to 10 minutes at most. Then you just cover it and let it finish cooking and absorbing the rest of the water. They teach y'all to, and you never put salt. They teach you to actually put the salt in the water and shit. No, never do that. There's almost nothing. There's very few foods that you have to salt or should salt or can salt without fucking it up. But in the boiling process, most Americans are, because they lost contact with kind of the grandmotherly or the motherly. See, remember, my mom was born in 1912. I learned my food chemistry. I didn't have to ask her. I just watched her how she did it. My mom didn't really even use measuring. She could measure in the palm of her hand as precisely as any measuring spoons. Yeah, we had measuring spoons, but she never used them. That's back in the days where my mom, in order to save money, would buy that unsifted flour, because every house had because there was a significant price difference between unsifted flour and fully sifted flour that's good for like making cakes and all that. Because you had a sifter, it was like a cup with a screen at the bottom, this little rotating mechanism that would keep the little clots of clay, because really when wheat is milled into a powder and shit like that, it's full of lumps. Most of y'all are so young, y'all have never seen unsifted flour. Y'all just want your life to be so easy, and really your future stinks. You don't have a future. That's why Canadians are already making it possible for young women. You should have watched the Jordan. Please don't take my word for it. Listen to the authority, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. Talk about the fact that this faddish, psychotic behavior in females, it's really females that have this it's considered a type of mass hysteria kind of thing. It really only primarily runs in females. And we have 300 years of documentation on that. And some of it's very severe. I mean, it can really even lead to death. It's all purely mental. And women are more susceptible to it. It's actually one of the things that led to hysterectomies, cutting the hysteria out of women. That's what hysterectomy means. What part of the body is the hysteria? The history, Hysterectomy literally means cutting the hysteria out of a woman. And you women got to admit you do it. All that anorexia shit, bulimia, all that stuff is women cutting stuff. And the shit that went on back in the past, mass suicides and shit. And they're starting to do that in Canada now, where groups of young girls are starting to show up at these medically assisted in dying. You don't even have to be ill. You can be young and just say, I don't have any future. I just want to die, and my girlfriends are here to die with me, and we'll do it. In the last couple of years, Canada killed thousands of people. I'm not sure if I got all of them, including because there's the veterans are separated from the others. They killed like 25,000 people, euthanized, in one of the most horrific ways. I already talked about it before, using a paralytic, and then they just slowly drowned to death with pulmonary edema from the following drugs. And all they saved in medical expenses, for those that did it for medical reasons, was a stinking measly fucking $200 million when Joseph Biden's talking about giving a bunch of lazy ass entitled fucking punks $750 billion in loan forgiveness for student loans for absolutely nothing but party schools and fucking just ranting and raving and political activities and shit and hating on white men. Because we got an election coming up. They usually happen earlier in May, but we had the local, regional, the municipal and county elections usually happen in May here in Texas. And shit, they had in one place in Austin, they had one Republican running against another Republican. Of course, the one who was 400 votes short of the other one just said, yeah, he won. And then said he stole it, but he won. It's sore loot. They're both in the same party. The Speaker of the House in Texas got reelected. Big deal. Come to Texas. Well, we will respect your right to kill babies and cut your genitals off. Ain't happening. Fucking ain't happening. I told you, somebody ratted out the doctors at Dell's Children's Hospital, which I've been there. I had a medical driver who said, I know the way there. The next thing we know, we're pulling up at Dell's Children's Medical Hospital. This is when I was going to see my ophthalmologist. And I said, right off the bat, I told him, dude, you're going the wrong way. He actually lived in Caldwell. His fucking dumbass. And I said, I told you this wasn't you made me late. I'm going to have to call them and see if they'll take me an hour late. Actually, I had to wait more than 2 hours because he has to see. His office was usually packed because it was a Texas State Optical. He was actually the only really good, and he was from South Africa. Terrence Jansen. I told you, don't retire, until I die. But since he's about 90 now, I think he retired at about 85 from being an ophthalmologist. Very intelligent, witty man, great conversationalist. Loved being with him in his exam room, which was spacious and not cramped. And he had in there, most of the people coming in there didn't even know that box, that special tray elevated on legs, had all these different lenses in it. That's actually an antique ophthalmologist's set of hand-polished, hand-shaped. No, absolutely no.
Extra, so it's not.
I really can't eat any kind of freaking food. I accepted a gift the other day and I paid for it dearly. You should have asked me first. Please don't leave it here like the last guy.
I'm not.
I,
I was just an offer because it was free. So.
no, that's okay. I really can't afford the cannon butt, the diarrhea. I can't really afford the. You'll learn. You're young. It just the toxins will hit you eventually. They have a cumulative effect. If you don't believe me, you might want to check with Harvard. Look it up. PBS NewsHour, the video's available so you don't have to read. It's about 2 or 3 months old. Harvard on PBS talking about the American food supply is not only pathogenic, it's carcinogenic. I only eat stuff that's been detoxified by animals. Bye. Okay, in the same video, the second time that I had to reject something, it was free from Starbucks, but would cost me a ton of money. Washing the clothes, wiping my ass. And you know, one of those gals was already showing signs of the GMO. She can't control her appetite. She weighs 240 pounds. The woman that was bringing me 2 bags of probably butter croissant or something. She's already showing signs of inability to control her appetite because of I told you how it works. I'm not going to call her fat or weak-willed. She's obese, and she's obese for a biochemical reason. But that's twice this morning. And within this video, the people have tried to give me shit that I absolutely am not, you know. And she started to make a move to set them down, and I halted her. Why would you set down an open paper package in ant territory? Yeah, I don't really care if some people don't like me and stuff like that, but like I learned in football, I'm going to finish with it. When you're a footy, you'll find that half the crowd wants to suck your cock and the other half wants to cut your cock off. Simple as that. That's kind of the way it is in fame. And shit, even for movie stars. Half the people are going to like you, half of them are going to hate you. You got to learn to live with that. Not everybody's going to love you. Look at Robert De Niro. He's really still like John Wayne. He's the same person in every... I've never really seen De Niro do anything but De Niro. Just like only Pacino's only maybe once, but then he was anybody. He wasn't even a very convincing gay guy. And that's my fucking point. Why do they want to keep giving me food? Does it really look like I need? You're getting a bad view of it, really, because I'm leaning back. Here I am sitting up straight. Does it really look like I need any additional food? Huh? Even sitting down, do I look? Yeah, I know my titties are sagging. But your titties at age 70 are going to sag too, baby doll. I ain't pumping iron all day long anymore. That's twice today. They were free. Well, with your Starbucks rewards, that you have to buy a $1,400 phone to hoard them 800 apps. Every fucking business has their own app and their own reward system and shit like that. I can see my healthcare system having an app because that allows me to know like test results before the doctor gets to talk to me. And shit. Yeah, that's right. I need to actually go ahead and book that trip today. It could wait though till next week, but sometime next week or so, we're gonna see if my if I'm really saving money on the prepaid plan, I may stay on it because I don't have a choice. If I break that contract, they're going to cut off my fucking service. But at current, from what was quoted to me, I'll be saving roughly about, let me see, about $19 a month. But if it ain't unlimited, it's not what I'm paying for. They actually are only charging me what it originally cost when I bought this phone. $50 a month. Then they went up to $65. Oh gosh. That's one thing I am going to do before the day is over, is I'm going to make it clear to people whose side I'm on, because people still don't even know I'm a Jew, because I really can't. Now, a kippah, a Jewish hat, is up in Maine. They used to ask me, how do you keep that thing on? Number one, it doesn't have a brim on them to catch the wind, and it's a question of aerodynamics. Just like a geodesic dome, the air will flow over it. The tornado may flow over it without sucking it up into the sky. Great winds will just kind of flow over it. When you've got a straight wall as opposed to a hemispherical wall, totally different aerodynamics and stuff. But yeah, you can keep a kippah on in pretty high winds because, number one, it doesn't have a brim. But in the winds around here that get up to 40, 50 miles an hour, I would have to use a little dab of, like I did in the past, use a little dab of what we call non-permanent adhesive, and put it right on my top of my head to keep it from blowing off. Been known to do that when the fucking winds are 40, 50 miles an hour. I really need that to protect my skull and the top of my head from, I need a good 9-inch kippah. And yet nobody around here has offered to crochet one for me, because it can be done in a day by a woman who's got busy hands. But a real kippah made by a Jewish woman, a 9-incher, used to cost me around 60 to 70 bucks. A 7-incher is still about around 50 bucks. So to really, because you want them knots on that crocheting tight. If it's loose and shit, like a lot of the Chinese machine made ones and shit, it lets the sun through. The objective is to block the sun off your head. It needs to be, see, that's where I don't get those white thin things that the Muslims wear. It's letting the light through, and it's still letting, and that's what you're supposed to do, is protect, because like I'm gonna remind you one more time, God designed you to preserve your life. You don't have any sweat glands from this line all the way around here. There are no sweat glands. You know how many hundreds of women that I've had argue with me, and I go, bitch, have you ever shaved your fucking head? Yeah, you're so stupid that I wouldn't even let you suck my dick. I've said shit that to like women who absolutely fucking know it all because I'm a liberated, educated woman. No, you're not. If you don't know the simple fact, well, my hair's wet on top. That's because it's called capillary action and wicking. No. I will pay $1 million to the first person that proves that any human has sweat glands on the top of their head. You do not. That's why God commands us to wear a hat in both summer and winter. Keep the sun off our head in summer, and keep our heat in winter to keep from freezing to death while working in wintertime. Dumbass, retard motherfuckers. So sick of that shit. Don't worry, you're not on camera. He just completely ignored me, and I don't think he even speaks English. So I managed to piss off a couple of white girls and an Oriental man today. they think once again that I'm an ungrateful bum after they've gone to all the trouble to bring me something that's poisonous as shit. I could feel it after I ate that. The first salty donut, I only ate a little more than half, and ate a little more than half of that biscuit. But that second full salty donut instantly started cramping. Technically, I don't think it's actually cleared my GI tract. It's on the next movement, and we'll see then. And I bet you it's still going to be. That reminds me, I need to take some more Imodium today. I need to take a full dose today. You know, after that movement, which was several days late, it took me $1 worth of wipes to get my ass fully cleaned. Between the stool softening effects of the corn syrup and then that fucking Frankenfood shit that I ate. But I really don't care, since y'all are not giving me any more money around here locally. It's last month, it really didn't even add up to $100 total. And I'm counting every freaking day. And you know, if you're not really supporting me to the point where I can buy non-toxic food and shit like that, then if you rudely are bringing food up here and shit that I didn't ask for in the first place, you didn't even ask me, you showed me no consideration, I'm not going to consider your feelings at all. I'll be rude as fuck to you. The same way as on the telephone, if you call me, the law says I can say I'm going to kill you. And you can't do a fucking thing about it, because the phone records just show that you called me. You get my drift? When you call me, I get to say anything I want. I can call you any name I want. I can threaten your life. No shit. You can't do a goddamn thing about it, as long as I don't call you back. Well, actually, I probably could, because the records will still show that you called me first. If I miss a call, I call them back, and I get rude with them. They go, "Why are you getting so rude?" And I go, "Because you motherfuckers, all y'all do is pass it off. I've told you about 100 times now that, to my knowledge, Brian Ramsey never owned this phone number. He borrowed it from Alton Ayler and shit, and gave it to the Catholic health system that I'm dealing with now." And they still have it, and it's been almost a full year that I've had this phone. I've had hundreds of debt collection calls. The Catholics have spent more money trying to, because actually they won't get to see a penny from Brian Ramsey. The debt collectors actually get it all. That's how it works. They usually get a percentage, but after a point, they get it all. After they've invested so much time and stuff in it, they get it all. So it appears Brian Ramsey, I want to say, by the way, Brian, fuck you for not getting for trying to, of course he may be dead. They're probably most likely trying to collect the money from a dead guy. That's how smart America is. Anyway, 33 minutes, I'm out. You've seen it here. They're trying to keep just feeding me that. Really, I used to love bread and stuff. I could live off of bread or wheat noodles and shit like that. Them wheat noodles had a little bit of that soybean oil and stuff in there. I really don't need fancy food or expensive foods or shit, and don't really. But I'm forced to. Now I have to. I really have to avoid all fucking grains, unless I see the actual bag that it's guaranteed Texas rice. That's the only grain that I would eat right now, is Texas rice. Well, I'm considering, trying to get something here just to cut out. But it still comes to, I can still have a meal for about $1 or a little over $1. It's, matter of fact, I got cheese right now that's getting to the point where I need to eat it. Today, I've still got 4 sticks left in one pack, and then a pack of 12 left. And I love the texture and stuff like that, but I'm actually much more habituated to the beef and just the beef and the sweet condensed milk. And I really would love to have, oh gosh, scrambled eggs. Yeah. Scrambled eggs cooked in butter. Oh, used to eat that. For years, that's been one of my mainstays. Every time I go to town, I'd buy at least like a 24 pack of eggs and the way I do it, I actually kind of put them in. I kind of break the yolks, because that's my limit of my scrambling. I keep some separation of the white from the yolk, and I kind of fold them. I don't really beat the hell out of them and all that shit, mix them all together, because you're turning it all into one flavor. I have my own way of preparing scrambled eggs, and they're delicious, especially when cooked in butter. I've told you before that years ago, many years ago, yes, my last experiments were with grapeseed oil and shit like that, but it's almost about 10 years ago that I switched strictly to animal fat, butter, chicken fat, even though sometimes that chicken fat has some toxins built up in it, beef fat, and yeah, even though I'm a Jew, bacon grease. Yep, delicious. Because it's better than the alternative. And shit, that's one of my, that's a lot of times that's all I would eat for days would be just scrambled eggs, some cheese. You sure don't have any trouble with diarrhea then. But I learned a long time ago. And it was actually my connections to Dr. Shimek and stuff that I didn't know that they were spraying the cereals, the grains, with glyphosate. Live and learn, man. I'm at 37 minutes now. This is the end of the morning cup for today. You've seen me how I've had to, because number one, they're interrupting me. You can tell that I'm recording something here, and you think that I think that food, I told you I don't really eat in the mornings and shit. They're trying to bring me all these tasty foods that are based on toxic wheat and toxic vegetable oils. Starbucks stock is, I ought to check on it right now. I'm pretty sure that since after the end of the winter quarter, the spring quarter of this year, well, no, that's right, they do them not seasonally. The first quarter of this year, I understand Starbucks was down, and the next quarter is about to be over. And I bet you Starbucks is going to post dropping sales for 2 quarters in a row, maybe 3. I know that it's due to pick up, but when I first came here on that place, even at this time of the morning, would usually still have somebody out there trying to manage traffic to that drive-through window. And actually less people are doing by mobile and doing it, waiting until they get up to the speakerphone to order, because they're taking longer. Their objective is to get them to the window and out of the window in about 16 seconds. And last year, this place was packed pretty much day and night during the summer, and they were handling thousands of cars at that window at a rate of less than 30 seconds per car, because you have to factor in the ones that wait until they get here to order, instead of ordering online through the mobile app. And I went to download a video editing app. I'm going to step up my game here, and I even did the Adobe, which is actually, I'm pretty sure the Adobe stuff actually came from my school. That's where I think that's who he sold out to the companies. Brad Carvey, who invented the first computer-generated imagery device called the wire wrap toaster. 40 minutes, I'm out. I already gave you 8 minutes on the morning cup. Now I'm in the cool shade. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't really want to do anything. And I don't really hardly watch it. I don't watch hardly anything on, unless you tell me right up front what the video's about and you keep it fairly short, or if it's a movie I'm interested. But all these fucking channels that have got fake thumbnails and they ask you a question, whatever happened to so-and-so, I know they're never going to tell me until the end. That it's usually not what the thumbnail implies. I just block all them fucking channels. I'm sick of it. Probably going to just try to stick to my subscriptions. A lot of those are longer, like the chemistry channels. The biology, actually, I kind of stopped by because I really need to be focused. And shit, when you got a 30-minute, computer-generated imagery, in detail to the atom, you really need to be focused and feeling well. I've been feeling well for days. Yeah, I look okay, right? But I'm not. I've been feeling pretty funky. And shit, and that fucking food didn't help. Various stressors didn't help. Like that fucking oil company that's just trying to butt rape me. I know they are. They know I'm on to them now. Or we'll turn you over to the division guy. They don't even have an employee like that in their own company. It's a microscopic company. In the oil business, Magnolia Oil is microscopic. They started with 100 wells just a few months ago, strictly in the Austin Chalk, and now they're trying to buy up into the Eagle Ford Shale. And their stock on the stock market has only gone up and down a few pennies a day. They've stayed pretty stable at around $25 since their kind of restart. It looks like a rich couple bought up the company for next to nothing, and 100 leases that weren't worth shit and probably not even producing. And now they're out looking for your money, and they're using my money to try to convince you to invest your money with them. I'm going to say this before I go. If you've never known the oil business or read any of the trade journals in oil and gas, they openly admit that 50% of the companies and all the subcontractors and stuff that do all the things that the drilling company doesn't do, 50% of them are absolute crooks. That's even what the trade journals admit. You have to be very cautious who the fuck you're dealing with, or you're going to end up with a fucked up well and lose all your investors' money, and then your stock on the stock market will drop to nothing. Or it'll get killed by Trump. I want to wish everybody luck. At least I'm probably going to die fairly soon. But you young people, you don't have a future. You love Joe Biden and all these liberal progressive stuff because you can do anything you want. You can go around and attack and be mean and push. And you can stab, police horses with a nail that's in the end of a 8-foot stick, leading to the horse's death by shock, periosteum. And then still only maybe, do a few months in jail when you ought to be doing really, I think for that, that's, animal abuse that ends in death is punishable by up to about, especially if, wait a second, it's a police horse. So yeah, you could easily get, and you should do a full 3 years in state prison, not a couple of months state jail time, county jail time. I remember seeing the video of that fucker stabbing. There was a nail. He had done that deliberately. He put a nail in the base of that stick. He stabbed that horse. The horse went down, went into shock, because when you penetrate the membrane that covers the bones, what do you think acupuncturists go for the ears? There's no periosteum in the ear. When you get older, those acupuncturists only go for your ears. They try to convince you, it's all really in the ears. No, they're trying to keep from killing you with them little sharp, little tiny needles. 45 minutes, I'm out. I got shit to do today. and I'm not in the mood for it. I need to drop another deuce because there's one there. I have a lot of things I need to do, and I don't feel like doing them. Like I tell my students all the time, mood is everything in life. It really is. What's the old saying? Weed will get you through times of no money better than money will get you through times of no weed. There you go. You want me to repeat it? Weed will get you through times of no money better than money will get you through times of no weed, because it's all about mood, baby. Later.